The rain pounded against the translucent dome of the emergency shelter, creating a chaotic symphony that matched Lara Velour's racing thoughts. 3 months had passed since the catastrophic energy surge that destroyed Chimera 7. Yet the joint Xylarian human rescue operation continued with diminishing hope. As chief bioengineer of the Xylarian Confederation, Lara had overseen countless scans of the lunar surface, each one yielding the same result: no survivors. The shelter's holographic displays cast an eerie blue glow across her silver-tinted skin. She absently traced a finger along the edge of her datapad, remembering the days when Captain Alex Ryder would tease her about her meticulous attention to detail. Those memories belonged to another lifetime, before the explosion, before the memorial service, before she had certified his death along with the other 347 crew members. "Chief Velour, Quadrant 6 scan complete," announced her assistant. "0 life signs detected." Lara nodded, her large, luminescent eyes blinking slowly in acknowledgement. "Prepare the shuttle for departure. We'll resume tomorrow when—" The words died in her throat as she glanced at the perimeter feed. There, barely visible through the torrential downpour, a dark figure stumbled toward the dome's entrance. The silhouette was unmistakably human, moving with pained determination through the mud. Lara magnified the image and felt her heart stop. "Impossible," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the rain drumming against the dome. "You should be dead." Without waiting for her team's response, Lara grabbed a portable scanner and rushed toward the airlock, her normally measured steps abandoned for an urgent sprint. The airlock hissed open, letting in a gust of cold, wet air as she stepped onto the lunar surface. The rain plastered her silver-white hair against her face as she ran toward the figure who had now collapsed to his knees. "Alex!" she called out, skidding to a halt beside him. "Captain Ryder!" His face lifted toward her, rain streaming down features she had mourned for months. His eyes, once a bright, piercing blue, now held an unnatural luminescence that pulsed beneath his skin. "Lara!" he rasped, his voice hoarse as if unused for too long. "Found you. Had to warn." He collapsed forward. Lara caught him, alarmed by the unnatural heat radiating from his body. She activated her comlink with trembling fingers. "Medical emergency at the south entrance. I need a containment team now." Within moments, Lara's team had transferred Captain Alex Ryder to the medical bay. She stood outside the quarantine field, watching as the diagnostic systems ran through their protocols. Dr. Marraro, the senior human scientist assigned to the rescue operation, studied the readings with increasing disbelief. "This is unprecedented," he muttered, expanding a holographic display of Alex's cellular structure. "His mitochondrial density is nearly 400% higher than human baseline. And these patterns beneath his skin, they're shifting, almost as if they're responding to the scan itself." Lara stepped closer, her scientific curiosity temporarily overriding her emotional shock. Could it be radiation poisoning from the energy surge? Dr. Marraro shook his head. "No, this isn't damage, it's reconstruction, at a quantum level. His entire physiology has been reorganized. He's no longer entirely human, Chief Velour." Alex's eyes fluttered open, finding Lara immediately. The patterns beneath his skin brightened momentarily before settling into a steady pulse. "They're coming," he whispered. "The architects. Hayes is working with them." Lara exchanged a concerned glance with Dr. Marraro. "Commander Hayes. He's coordinating the Alliance response from orbit." "Not rescue," Alex managed before wincing in pain. "Retrieval. Me. They want what I've become." Dr. Marraro discreetly activated a signal jammer, preventing their conversation from being recorded. "Chimera 7 wasn't an accident, was it?" he asked quietly. Alex's expression darkened. "No. Hayes met with them before the surge." Lara made a decision then. one that would violate multiple protocols and potentially end her career. Dr. Maroro, I need access to the restricted Chimera 7 logs. Authorization Echo 79. The older man raised an eyebrow but nodded. I'll keep our patient stable. Do what you need to do, Chief. 30 minutes later, Laura sat alone in her private quarters, reviewing security footage that had been classified at the highest level. The timestamp showed 3 days before Chimera 7's destruction. Commander Richard Hayes stood in a maintenance corridor, speaking with a tall, unnaturally thin figure whose features remained obscured by shadow. The subjects are nearly ready, Hayes was saying. The energy field will trigger the transformation in those with compatible genetic markers. The others will be acceptable losses. The shadowy figure, an architect, if Alex's warning was to be believed, made a series of clicking sounds that Hayes seemed to understand. Yes, I understand the urgency. The harvesters are moving faster than anticipated. We need weaponized humans if we're going to stand a chance. Laura felt ice form in her veins. She'd heard rumors of the harvesters in classified Zalarian intelligence briefings, a cosmic predator species that consumed entire civilizations. But the idea that Hayes would collaborate with another alien species to weaponize humans without consent. A notification flashed on her screen. Incoming transmission from the Alliance cruiser in orbit. Hayes was requesting immediate transfer of the recovered anomaly to his vessel for detailed examination. Lara closed the footage and composed herself, just as her comm unit chimed. Chief Velour, Hayes's voice filled her quarters. Congratulations on your remarkable find. My shuttle will dock in 3 hours to transport Captain Ryder to our medical facilities. With all due respect, Commander, Lara replied carefully. Captain Ryder is in a delicate condition. Moving him could destabilize his already precarious physiology. This isn't a request, Chief. It's an order. Hayes's tone hardened. Captain Ryder is Alliance personnel, and his condition requires specialized equipment we have aboard the cruiser. After ending the transmission, Lara returned to the medical bay, where Dr. Maroro waited with grim determination. They're coming for him, she said simply. I heard. Dr. Maroro's eyes held the calculating look of someone who had spent time in intelligence operations before turning to science. We have 3 hours to devise an alternative. The shuttle, Lara said, thinking quickly. If we trigger an environmental shutdown, it would delay the transfer by at least 12 hours while they run safety protocols. And during that confusion, Dr. Maroro prompted, the automated Xylarian research vessel is scheduled for calibration tests tonight. I could reprogram its course to the Helios cluster outpost. It's remote enough to buy us time to understand what's happening to Alex and expose Hayes's conspiracy. The older scientist nodded slowly. I'll help you get Captain Ryder to the vessel, but once Hayes realizes what's happened, he'll lock down every exit. Then we'll need a distraction, Lara said, already formulating a plan. Can you trigger a false emergency beacon on the far side of the facility? Consider it done. You just focus on getting our patient mobile enough to move. 2 hours later, Lara's hands moved swiftly over the shuttle's environmental control systems, carefully inserting a delayed malfunction that would trigger upon docking procedures. As she finished, a notification on her wrist display indicated that Dr. Maroro had activated the emergency beacon. Security personnel were already rushing toward the northern quadrant. Lara slipped through the maintenance corridors toward the medical bay, only to find Alex's quarantine field empty. Panic surged through her until a shadow in the corner moved, resolving into Alex's form. He stood unassisted, the patterns beneath his skin flowing like luminescent rivers. I heard everything, he said quietly. Enhanced senses. Another gift from the anomaly. Lara approached him cautiously. Can you walk? We need to reach the research vessel before Hayes realizes we've gone. I can do more than walk. Without warning, Alex moved with blurring speed to her side. My strength, healing, reflexes. They're all enhanced. And I can sense the technology around us, interface with it subconsciously. As if to demonstrate, the lights in the corridor dimmed momentarily, then returned to normal. "We need to go," Lara insisted, pushing aside her scientific fascination for later. Dr. Mararo's distraction won't hold their attention for long. They move through the facility like ghosts, utilizing maintenance shafts and service corridors. Twice they had to hide as security patrols passed, pressed together in narrow alcoves, their faces inches apart. In one such moment, Alex's hand brushed against hers, and the patterns beneath his skin brightened in response. "I thought I was dead," he whispered, his breath warm against her cheek. "When the energy field engulfed the station, I felt myself being torn apart molecule by molecule. But in that dissolution, I remained somehow conscious. And then, piece by piece, I was rebuilt." Lara found herself fighting against Zalarian cultural prohibitions on showing emotion. "I mourned you," she admitted. "Privately, against protocol. Your face was what I held on to during the darkest moments." "I always knew there was something beneath that professional exterior," Alex replied, a ghost of his former smile appearing. "Something you kept hidden from everyone else." "We should keep moving," Lara said, though she made no immediate effort to pull away. "In a moment." Alex's hand cupped her face with exquisite gentleness. "If we don't survive what's coming, I need you to know that I've always—" The corridor lights flashed red, accompanied by a blaring alarm. Hayes's voice echoed through the facility. "Security alert! Captain Alexander Ryder has escaped containment. He is to be considered dangerous and unstable. Apprehend on sight." "So much for our head start," Alex muttered. They sprinted the remaining distance to the docking bay, where the sleek Xylarian research vessel waited. Lara quickly initiated the pre-flight sequence, while Alex sealed the airlock behind them. "Hayes will have the exit blocked," Lara warned as she took the pilot's seat. "Not for long." Alex placed his hands on the vessel's control interface, and the patterns beneath his skin synchronized with the ship's lighting. "I can feel the docking clamps, the bay doors, like extensions of my own body." The vessel hummed to life, systems initializing faster than Lara had ever witnessed. The docking clamps released simultaneously, rather than in sequence, and the bay doors opened before she could even transmit the clearance codes. "How did you—" she began, but Alex was already slumping into the co-pilot's seat, exhaustion evident in his face. "Later," he managed. "Just get us out of here." Lara engaged the engines, guiding the vessel away from the lunar facility and into the storm-racked sky. Behind them, Hayes's shuttle was just beginning its descent, too late to intercept them. As they broke atmosphere, Lara plotted a course for the Helios cluster and initiated the hyperspace jump. For 6 hours, they traveled through the swirling vortex of hyperspace. Lara divided her time between monitoring their course and tending to Alex, whose condition seemed to fluctuate wildly. During his conscious moments, they pieced together what had happened. "The architects have been manipulating species across multiple star systems for millennia," Alex explained, as Lara adjusted his neural stabilizers. "They're preparing for a war against the Harvesters, entities that consume advanced civilizations. Hayes believes that by offering humans as weapons, vanguards, he calls them, he can secure Earth's safety." "But your transformation was different," Lara observed, noting how the patterns beneath his skin responded to her touch, brightening where her fingers made contact. "I was at the epicenter when the energy field activated. Instead of being enhanced according to their specifications, I was rebuilt by the anomaly itself. Natural integration rather than forced enhancement." Lara's scientific mind raced with implications. "That's why Hayes wants you so badly. You represent a successful hybrid they didn't control. And a threat to their plans," Alex added. "With my abilities, I could potentially disrupt their control over the other vanguards." A comfortable silence fell between them as Lara continued her scans. Eventually, Alex spoke again, his voice softer. "Back at the facility, before the alarm, I was going to tell you something." Lara felt her heart's accelerating. "Yes?" "That I've always admired your dedication, your brilliance. That working alongside you at Chimera 7 was the highlight of my career." His hand found hers, the patterns beneath his skin illuminating the dim cabin. "And that somewhere along the way, admiration became something more. Something I never thought I'd have the courage to express." Zalarian cultural norms dictated emotional restraint, particularly regarding interspecies attachments. But in that moment, with the hyperspace vortex swirling outside and the future uncertain, Lara chose to defy convention. She leaned forward and pressed her lips against his, a human gesture she had studied but never experienced. The kiss was brief, tentative, but as she pulled away, the patterns beneath Alex's skin blazed like captured stars. Without words, he drew her back to him, and their second kiss contained 3 months of unspoken longing and newfound hope. The vessel's alert system interrupted them, announcing their imminent arrival at the Helios cluster. Lara reluctantly returned to the pilot's seat, composing herself as they dropped out of hyperspace. What greeted them was not the bustling research outpost she expected, but a shattered facility surrounded by debris fields. Emergency beacons flashed among the fragments, and the main structure showed signs of recent weapons fire. "Something's wrong," Lara whispered, scanning for life signs. "The outpost should have 27 Xylarian researchers and a security detail." "I'm picking up multiple distress signals," Alex said, the patterns beneath his skin pulsing rapidly as he interfaced with the vessel's sensors. "And energy signatures consistent with architect technology." Lara opened a communication channel. "Helios Outpost. This is Chief Bioengineer Lara Velour aboard research vessel XR7. We're receiving your distress beacon. Please respond." Static crackled before a strained voice broke through. "Chief Velour, this is Security Chief Tark Noli. We're under attack by humans, but not like any I've seen. Enhanced, unstoppable. They've already breached 3 sections." "Vanguards," Alex muttered darkly. "Hayes must have sent them to secure the outpost before we arrived." "How many survivors?" Lara asked, already adjusting their approach vector to a secondary docking port. 11 of us left," Noli replied, "sealed in the central research hub. Dr. Narus is trying to broadcast a warning to the Confederation, but something's jamming all outgoing transmissions." "We're docking now," Lara informed him. "Prepare for immediate evacuation." As she guided the vessel toward the remaining intact docking collar, Alex placed a hand on her arm. "We can't just evacuate and run. If Hayes has deployed vanguards here, he's likely done the same at other outposts. We need to find what's jamming the transmissions and broadcast evidence of his conspiracy." "And how exactly do we fight against these vanguards?" Lara asked. "You said yourself they're nearly unstoppable." Alex's expression hardened, the patterns beneath his skin forming intricate, almost weapon-like configurations. "You forget. I'm not entirely human anymore either." The docking procedure completed with a metallic clang that reverberated through the vessel. Lara equipped herself with a standard-issue particle disruptor, while Alex refused any weapons. "They'll only slow me down," he explained, flexing his hands as energy visibly coursed beneath his skin. They entered the outpost through the secondary airlock, immediately confronted by signs of a brutal assault. Scorch marks marred the walls, and emergency lighting cast long shadows down the debris-strewn corridors. They moved cautiously toward the central hub, guided by Alex's enhanced senses. 3 vanguards approaching from the eastern corridor," he whispered, pulling Lara into an alcove. "Don't engage unless absolutely necessary." The vanguards passed their hiding spot without pausing. 3 humans whose bodies had been grotesquely enhanced. Their muscles bulged unnaturally beneath their skin, and their eyes glowed with the same luminescence as Alex's, though theirs seemed artificial, imposed rather than integrated. Once the patrol had passed, they continued toward the central hub. Tarknoli met them at the final security checkpoint, his weapon trained on Alex, until Lara stepped between them. "He's with me," she stated firmly, "and he may be our best chance of surviving this." Inside the hub, the remaining survivors huddled around emergency power cells. Dr. Narus, a senior Xylarian researcher, approached Lara with obvious relief. "Chief Velour, we thought no help was coming. The Vanguards arrived 12 hours ago, claiming to be an Alliance rescue team. Once inside, they began systematically eliminating anyone who resisted." "They're after something specific," Alex interjected, scanning the research equipment. "What were you studying here?" Dr. Narus hesitated, looking to Lara for confirmation. She nodded, and the researcher led them to a secured terminal. "We were analyzing artifacts recovered from the Crimson Nebula, devices of unknown origin but extraordinary complexity. 3 pyramidal structures that emit energy signatures unlike anything in our databases. Architect extraction devices," Alex said grimly. "They're used to harvest genetic material and transmit evolutionary data, and they'd make perfect jammers for blocking outgoing communications." Lara studied the terminal displays. "If we could locate these devices, could you interface with them as you did with our vessel?" "Possibly, but it would be dangerous, both physically and informationally. A direct neural link would expose me to whatever protocols the architects have embedded." "It may be our only option," Lara argued. "If we can override their systems, we could broadcast Hayes' conspiracy to both the Alliance and Confederation simultaneously." A thunderous explosion shook the hub, sending dust cascading from the ceiling. Noli checked the security feeds. "They're breaking through the eastern barricade. We have minutes, maybe less." "Where are the extraction devices?" Alex demanded. Dr. Narus pulled up a schematic of the outpost. "Central transmission array. All 3 were moved there when the attack began." "I'll go," Alex decided. "Lara, help evacuate the survivors to our vessel. If I succeed, I'll meet you there. If not—" "I'm coming with you," Lara said, brooking no argument. "Noli can handle the evacuation." The security chief nodded grimly. "We'll hold the docking collar as long as possible. But don't take too long. These Vanguards don't tire, and our ammunition is limited." Alex and Lara moved swiftly through the damaged corridors toward the transmission array. Twice they encountered Vanguards, and each time, Alex engaged them with astonishing speed and strength. The fights were brutal, efficient, his natural integration allowing him to anticipate their artificially enhanced movements. After the second skirmish, Lara noticed Alex wincing, the patterns beneath his skin flickering erratically. "You're pushing yourself too hard," she observed, supporting him as they continued forward. "No choice," he grunted. "We're close now. I can feel the devices. They're active, pulsing with data." The transmission array stood at the heart of the outpost, a circular chamber dominated by a massive communications dish. Beneath it, arranged in a perfect triangle, sat 3 pyramidal devices, each emitting a sickly green glow. "There," Alex whispered. "The extraction devices. They're synchronized, creating a field that blocks all outgoing signals." "Can you interface with them?" "Not from here. I need direct contact." He straightened, steeling himself. "Once I begin, the other Vanguards will sense it immediately. You'll have to hold them off." Lara positioned herself near the chamber's entrance, particle disruptor ready. "I'll buy you as much time as I can." Alex approached the devices cautiously, then placed his hands on the nearest pyramid. Immediately, the patterns beneath his skin aligned with the pulsing green light, creating a mesmerizing synchronicity. His eyes closed in concentration as he established a neural link. "I see Hayes' logs," he murmured, voice strained. "Communications with the architects, deployment orders for the Vanguards. Everything. I'm redirecting the extraction devices to broadcast it all." Lara heard footsteps approaching, multiple vanguards converging on their position. She took cover behind a damaged console and prepared for the onslaught. The first vanguard burst through the doorway, immediately met with a series of disruptor blasts. It staggered but continued forward, healing almost instantly. Two more followed, their movements coordinated and relentless. "Whatever you're doing, do it faster!" Lara called out, ducking as energy blasts tore through her previous position. "Almost there." Alex's voice had taken on an ethereal quality, the patterns beneath his skin now pulsating in harmony with all three devices simultaneously. Overriding. Security protocols. Establishing broadcast channel. Lara continued firing, each shot buying only seconds as the vanguards advanced inexorably. A blast grazed her shoulder, sending searing pain down her arm. She fought to maintain her position, knowing that retreat meant certain death for both of them. "Got it!" Alex exclaimed as the pyramid shifted from green to a brilliant blue. "Broadcasting now, every frequency, every channel, every ship in both fleets." The effect was immediate and unexpected. The advancing vanguards froze mid-stride, their enhanced bodies suddenly rigid. Then, one by one, they collapsed to the floor, the artificial light fading from their eyes. "Hayes's control signal," Alex explained, his voice weak as he slumped beside the devices. "I disrupted it when I broadcast the evidence." Lara rushed to his side, alarmed by his pallor. The once vibrant patterns beneath his skin now flickered weakly, like dying embers.
"Alex, what's happening to you?"
The interface drained me. My physiology is trying to revert to baseline human parameters. Can't sustain. She helped him to his feet, supporting his weight as they made their way back toward the docking collar. Throughout the outpost, they passed the fallen forms of vanguards, puppet soldiers whose strings had been cut. Noli met them halfway, leading a defensive formation of survivors. "Whatever you did worked. Alliance and Confederation vessels are converging on our position, and Hayes's cruiser just jumped to hyperspace. We need to get him to the medical bay immediately," Lara instructed, noting how Alex's breathing had become increasingly labored. Once aboard their vessel, Lara worked feverishly to stabilize Alex's condition. The patterns beneath his skin continued to fade, his enhanced physiology seemingly at war with itself. "His system is shutting down," Dr. Narus observed, assisting with emergency treatments. The energy required to interface with all three devices simultaneously was too much for even his enhanced state. "There must be something we can do," Lara insisted, refusing to accept defeat now, after everything they'd survived. "Perhaps," Dr. Narus hesitated. "We could attempt to stabilize the quantum fluctuations using a modified stasis field. It wouldn't heal him, but it might prevent further degradation until we reach a proper medical facility." For the next several hours, Lara and Dr. Narus worked without rest, adapting their limited equipment to create the experimental stasis field. Meanwhile, a joint fleet of Alliance and Zalarian vessels secured the Helios outpost, recovering the broadcast evidence and beginning a systematic search for other compromised facilities. It was during a rare moment of quiet, with the stasis field finally stabilized, that Lara allowed herself to sit beside Alex's bed. His eyes opened briefly, finding hers with effort. "Did it work?" he asked, his voice barely audible. "Yes," she assured him, taking his hand. The patterns beneath his skin brightened slightly at her touch. The broadcast reached both fleets. Hayes is being hunted, and the Alliance Zalarian Joint Command is assembling to address the Architect threat. A ghost of a smile crossed his lips. "Worth it, then." "Why did you do it?" Lara asked softly. "You knew interfacing with all three devices might kill you." "Because some things are worth dying for," he replied simply. "The truth, justice, the people we care about." His fingers tightened weakly around hers. "You." Lara broke another cultural taboo then, allowing tears to form in her luminescent eyes. I defied every protocol to save you. I wouldn't accept your death 3 months ago, and I won't accept it now." "Always the stubborn scientist," Alex murmured, his eyes drifting closed again. "It's what I love about you." 6 weeks later, Lara stood before the assembled delegations aboard the Xylarian flagship Eternal Harmony. As special liaison to the newly formed Joint Species Defense Initiative, she had been tasked with presenting the evidence recovered from Helios Outpost. Beside her stood Alex Ryder, still bearing the luminescent patterns beneath his skin, though they had stabilized into a permanent feature of his hybrid physiology. His recovery had been long and painful, but with each passing day, he had grown stronger, learning to balance his human core with his enhanced abilities. "The threat we face is unprecedented," Lara addressed the circular chamber, where representatives from both human and Xylarian civilizations listened intently. "The architects have been manipulating our evolutionary paths for millennia, preparing us as weapons in their cosmic war against the Harvesters. Commander Hayes was merely one agent in a larger network of collaborators." Admiral Chilton of the Earth Alliance leaned forward. "And you're certain these Harvesters are real? Not just a fabrication to justify the architects' actions?" "The evidence is conclusive," Alex replied, stepping forward. The patterns beneath his skin pulsed gently as holographic displays activated around the chamber, showing data recovered from the extraction devices. "The Harvesters have consumed 17 advanced civilizations in the Andromeda Galaxy alone. They're moving toward our region of space." High Counselor Theos, representing the Xylarian Confederation, studied the displays with a practiced eye. "What do you propose, Special Liaison Velour?" "A unified response," Lara stated firmly. "The Joint Species Defense Initiative must identify and remove architect influences within both our governments while developing countermeasures to the Harvester threat. Captain Ryder's unique physiology offers insights into how we might protect ourselves without sacrificing our autonomy or humanity." The discussion continued for hours, with questions about military readiness, scientific research priorities, and diplomatic implications. Throughout it all, Lara and Alex presented a united front, their personal bond a living symbol of what could be achieved through cooperation rather than manipulation. As the session concluded, with unanimous approval for the initiative's formation, Lara and Alex stood at the flagship's observation deck, watching as the combined fleet prepared for departure. "So," Alex said quietly, "Special Liaison to an Interspecies Defense Force. Quite a promotion from Chief Bioengineer. And what about you, Captain? Or should I say, Hybrid Integration Specialist Ryder?" He laughed, the sound warming her hearts. "A fancy title for the guy who's neither fully human nor architect, but useful to have around." Lara turned to face him, her expression serious. "You're far more than useful, Alex. You're the bridge between what we were and what we might become. Proof that transformation doesn't have to mean losing our essential selves." "Is that the scientist talking or something else?" he asked, moving closer.
"Both," she admitted. "I've spent my career studying the boundaries between species, never imagining I'd find myself crossing them so completely."
Alex took her hand, the patterns beneath his skin brightening at the contact.
"Does it bother you? What I've become?"
"You asked me that once before," she reminded him. "My answer hasn't changed. Your memories, your values, your capacity for sacrifice and love. Those are what define you, not the patterns beneath your skin or the abilities they grant you." He drew her into an embrace, their foreheads touching in the intimate gesture shared by both their species. "We have a long fight ahead of us." "Yes," Lara agreed. "Against the architects, against the harvesters, against those who would sacrifice freedom for false security."
"And yet," Alex murmured, "standing here with you, I find myself strangely hopeful."
Beyond the observation window, the stars beckoned, countless worlds facing an uncertain future. But in that moment, with the patterns beneath Alex's skin pulsing in harmony with Lara's dual heartbeats, the universe seemed less vast, less cold. Whatever challenges awaited them, they would face them together, transformed but unbroken, different but undivided. Their kiss, witnessed only by distant stars, sealed a promise that transcended species, distance, and even death itself. For in finding each other across the void, they had discovered something the architects, for all their manipulations, could never understand. That true evolution came not from forced enhancement, but from the courage to love beyond boundaries. As the flagship entered hyperspace, carrying them toward their next mission, the patterns beneath Alex's skin traced the outline of Lara's face, a map of possibilities yet to be explored, a future waiting to be written.